another one for the graveyard. The rejection email glowed on Alex's screen, its words a formal confirmation of a deep, private fear. Seeking candidate with 10+ years in one specific skill. A headstone for the half-coded app meant to identify local flora. A memorial for the beautiful acoustic guitar in the corner. Strings slack, a monument to 3 months of obsessive practice that vanished overnight. Evelyn, the department's hyper-specialist in network architecture, glanced over. Still flitting between hobbies, Alex? Focus is a muscle. Some people just don't train it. The comment landed like a stone. Just as Alex minimized the window, a piercing alarm sliced through the office hum. A blood-red banner flashed across every screen. System-wide failure. Critical network unstable. In the sterile crisis room, Evelyn was a pillar of confidence. "The protocol is clear," she stated, her voice sharp with the precise jargon of her trade. "We run a level 1 diagnostic, isolate the corrupted nodes, and purge the cascade queue." As she rattled off commands, Alex felt invisible. Their scattered knowledge useless in this temple of specialization. A saying surfaced in their mind, the modern version people sometimes use to finish the old insult. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. It was a sliver of defiance against the shame. On the main screen, Evelyn's diagnostic program, a tool she had spent a decade perfecting, returned an error no one had ever seen. Query. Invalid. Pattern non-linear. The network's decay, a chaotic graph of red lines, accelerated into a vertical climb. Panic, cold and electric, began to bloom. The low hum of the servers pitched into a high-frequency whine, and the lights flickered once, twice. The failure was cascading, a digital wildfire that defied every textbook solution. "That's impossible," Evelyn stammered, her authority cracking as error logs scrolled past too fast to read. The data streams on the main screen looked like hemorrhaging arteries, pulsing erratically. She dismissed a junior tech suggestion as unfocused. This wasn't a simple problem. It was a wicked one, changing its own rules as they fought it. On her private monitor, a notification appeared, a chilling echo from Alex's own anxieties. Automation protocol initiated. Manual override failing. Her secret terror of obsolescence was no longer a secret. It was here, and it was taking control. While the team descended into controlled chaos, Alex pulled out a tablet and opened a blank sketching app. They didn't see a graveyard of failures. They sketched a mountain range. A sharp peak for the coding boot camp, where they learned logic. Another for the season they learned music theory, mastering pattern recognition. A third, broader peak for the beekeeping course they'd taken one summer. An M shape began to form under their stylus. It wasn't a collection of failures. It was a map of competencies. Looking from their M-shaped sketch to the chaotic data pulsing on the main screen, Alex saw something. A pattern in the noise that was eerily, impossibly familiar. In the eye of the storm, Alex found a moment of quiet reflection. It clicked. Each project wasn't abandoned. It was a completed season of deep learning. The guitar wasn't a failure. It was a season mastering the relationship between mathematical intervals and emotional response. The coding app was a season of building logical systems from scratch. And the beekeeping, that was a masterclass in complex, decentralized systems. This was serial mastery. The shame began to recede, replaced by a startling clarity. The pattern on the screen wasn't a server error. It was a communication breakdown. The nodes weren't crashing, they were lost, behaving exactly like a beehive, suffering from colony collapse disorder. "We have one option left," Evelyn announced, her voice tight with desperation. "A full system reboot, brute force. We'll lose the last hour of all transactional data, but it's the only way." Her team exchanged nervous glances. Her arrogance had curdled into rigid fear, and they no longer trusted her. As she moved to give the final command, a quiet voice cut through the tension. "Stop," Alex said, standing up. "You're treating the symptom, not the disease." Every head turned. Alex took a breath, their heart pounding. "The network nodes are acting like disoriented bees," they began, their voice gaining strength. "They're losing their way back to the hive, the central server. The communication pathways are breaking down, creating feedback loops of confusion. Evelyn let out a sharp, incredulous laugh. Bees? Save the folksy analogies for your weekend hobbies, Alex. This is a catastrophic failure, not a stage for your latest fleeting interest. The words from the rejection email echoed in Alex's mind. But the system manager, out of options and time, locked eyes with Alex. Explain, he commanded. Now. Alex's voice grew steady, fluently bridging two worlds that had never touched. In a hive, the queen bee emits a pheromone, a chemical signal that helps every bee orient itself. They always know where home is. Our nodes have lost their queen. We don't need a bigger hammer to hit them with. We need to introduce a new one. A simple, trusted data packet that does nothing but broadcast a persistent, trustworthy signal. It's a lighthouse the lost nodes can lock onto and follow home. The manager's eyes flicked from Alex's face to the main screen, where the chaotic red dots pulsed like a panicked swarm. A disoriented swarm, he breathed, the visual connection undeniable. That's exactly what it looks like. He nodded once, his voice firm. Do it. Evelyn was left standing alone, sidelined. The team scrambled to implement Alex's bizarre instruction, coding the Queen packet. On the main screen, the chaotic swarm of red alerts pulsed, a system on the verge of total collapse. The packet went live. For a terrifying second, nothing happened. Then, a single red dot on the periphery of the network map shifted its trajectory, turning green. Then another, and another, like the first drops of rain before a storm. Within 30 seconds, the chaos began to resolve into order. The frantic, random flashing coalesced into elegant, flowing rivers of data, all streaming toward the new steady beacon at the network's core. The system stabilized. The wicked problem was solved, not by deeper specialization, but by a broader connection. In the quiet hum of the now stable network, Evelyn stood frozen, watching the orderly data flows. Her hand instinctively went to the worn corner of her company ID badge, a subconscious gesture toward an identity that now felt fragile. Her entire career, her identity, was built on a single deep pillar of expertise. And in the moment it mattered most, that pillar had been useless, a liability. Her anxious obsolescence was no longer a private fear whispered in the dark. It was a public, silent truth, displayed for all to see on the monitor before her. The automation protocol, no longer needed, disengaged with a soft chime that sounded like a final judgment. The manager walked over to Alex, bypassing Evelyn completely. "I've never seen anything like that," he said, his voice low with awe. "That connection. You can't list that on a resume. What everyone else dismisses as a distraction, you just used to save this entire network. That ability to connect disparate fields is the asset we've been missing." He paused, looking from Alex to the stable network. "We're creating a new division, an interdisciplinary problem-solving unit for wicked problems like this one. I want you to lead it." He offered a new title, a strange hybrid that mirrored the job alert from that morning. "We're calling it Head of Applied Systems and FAR Transfer." Alex looked at their tablet, at the M-shaped map of their life. The graveyard had just become an arsenal. "I accept," Alex said, a genuine smile spreading across their face. The question that had haunted them, was there scattered past a blueprint for the future, or was it already too late? Finally had an answer. It was never too late. The scattered path wasn't a detour from the real journey. The scattered path was the blueprint all along. They were not a jack of all trades. They were built for a future no specialist could survive.